You should carry a get home bag. No, you should carry a bug out bag. No, you should carry an inch bag. So confusing. What kind of bag should I carry? Welcome back, everyone. My name is Lee, and this is Prepare for the Worst. Today, I want to talk about different types of bags and which one you should be carrying. So let's get started. The first thing I want to say is most YouTubers, including myself, are not professional survivalists. We're not certified instructors. So most of what we're talking about is what we think is going to happen and what we think you should be carrying. So most of it is nothing but opinions. So don't listen to anyone telling you you're doing it wrong. You're not doing it wrong, you're just doing it different. Everyone's situation is going to require something different. So if I tell you you should be carrying a bug out bag with this amount of gear, with these items, well, that's based on my situation. I don't know yours. So I keep seeing a lot of videos, people saying you should only be carrying a get home bag. You don't need to carry a bug out bag. You don't need to carry a inch bag. It's too much gear. Some people say you only need a survival kit. A simple chest bag or a fanny pack, a haversack, just with some simple gear, just enough to get you going. That's not going to work for everyone. Every situation is going to be different. So let's start with the haversack. If you live in or around a wooded area, you may be walking through those woods to get home. You may only need some simple, bushcraft type items. A small tarp or a poncho, a water filter, a bushcraft style knife, things like that. Something simple, small. Things like that require skills. So you need to be out practicing. If you're not a bushcrafter or a survivalist, you might need a little more gear than that. The next thing would be a chest bag or a fanny pack. Something like that, you can carry survival gear, water filter, bag to carry water in, flashlight, paracord, anything like that, just things that you would need to survive. You may use something like that just to get home, but it's not going to keep you alive very long. Next thing would be a get home bag. So a get home bag should have a little more gear in it, just enough to get you from point A to point B. Again, if you live in a wooded area, far away from civilization, you don't have a lot of really close neighbors. You're not in a big city. There's not a lot of criminals running around. There's not a lot of bad people running around. You don't have a lot to worry about. You get out of your vehicle, grab your get home bag. If you need to, change your shoes. If you need some hiking shoes or walking shoes, and you just start walking. It might take you half a day, maybe a day. You might need a sleeping bag or a tarp, just something to sleep overnight. You should be home by morning. You don't have to worry too much about what's happening at your house because you're in a decent neighborhood. It would also be a good idea if you're only carrying a get home bag and you live on a decent piece of land, maybe bury a cache somewhere. That way you have extra gear if you do need to bug out or inch because you don't know what kind of situation you're going to be coming home to. If your house is overrun, overtaken, and you can't get it back, you might have to leave the area. So you can stop by, dig up your cache, get the rest of your gear, and leave. Now, not everybody lives in that kind of an area. I think most people live in an area they wouldn't trust their neighbors. They may not know their neighbors. They may not like their neighbors. A lot of people think I'm not going to be gone that long, so things aren't going to get bad fast enough for me to really have to worry. So I just have to get home. I think you're underestimating the bad people. There's a lot of people that rob houses with rule of law. So without rule of law, it won't take long for them to figure out there's no cops coming. There's no cameras that are videotaping them. There's nothing for them to worry about. So they'll be quick to rob your house. So having a backup plan is always a good idea because you have no idea what you're coming home to. So if you live in a bigger city, you might want to get away from the people because when things get bad, people go into chaos. The mob mentality, people get scared. They start doing things that they normally wouldn't do. You might think that it'll take days or weeks for them to really get into it, but when it comes down to it, there you really don't know what people are going to do. Um, when cars start crashing and people start ending each other for absolutely no reason, you don't want to be in a city. So if your house is in the middle of that city, there's a good chance by the time you get home, somebody's already invaded, taken everything that you have, or just taken up residence. And one thing you need to consider is there's a lot of people driving through your area that don't live around there. And when things get bad, traffic is going to shut down. People are going to have to leave their vehicles. Maybe the vehicles get shut down. They're going to have to start walking. If they don't live in that area, where are they going to walk to? They're going to need to find someplace for shelter. They're going to want to get away from all the chaos, get away from all the bad people. So you may want to be a little more prepared for whatever you might come home to. That's not to say don't try going home. The best place for you to be is home. You should just be a little more prepared for what you're coming home to. Now, as far as the inch bag goes, I'm not a fan of the idea of packing up with the idea of never coming home, but I think you should be prepared for the possibility you may not be able to come home. Maybe not ever, but at least for a while. You might have to stay behind a building or behind a dumpster or in the woods somewhere. Find someplace secluded, find someplace away from everybody, and just try to survive for a little while. Things may calm down, might get better. If not, you wait for it to calm down a little bit and find a better place to stay. So the basic idea is very simple. You need to assess your own situation. Where do you live? What kind of neighbors do you have? Can you trust the people around you? What are your skills like? Do you have enough skills to survive in the woods with very little? Because you really don't want to carry any more than you absolutely have to. The more you carry, the heavier it's going to be, the slower you're going to be, the more it's going to hurt. So you want to carry as little as possible. But your situation may require more gear. So don't listen to anybody telling you that you only have to carry this or you should be carrying all of this. It's all based on what you need. The people that say that you only need a get home bag, they probably live in an area that they only need a get home bag. They only need a few items so they can walk down a dirt road and get back to their house because they know that their house is safe. They know that their neighbors aren't going to mess with them. They know nobody's going to invade their house. Nobody's going to rob them. Nobody's going to hurt them. So all that they need to do is get from point A to point B. That doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So you need to judge your situation, your area, the people that are around you. To me personally, I don't have a secondary location. I don't have somewhere else to go. I can't afford one house. I sure on earth can't afford cabin in the woods stockpiled with everything that I'm going to need. So all I have to do is grab a bag and walk to my other location. Most people don't have a bug out location. It's either stay home or they're going to be stuck out in the woods trying to fight for survival. And that's pretty much where I'm at. I don't have a second location. I don't have a first location. So if things get bad, I have to have everything that I'm going to need with me. And if I'm keeping it in my car, I can carry as much as I want. Because when something happens, I can judge that situation and see what I'm going to need. If I don't need it, I can leave it in the car. Or I can grab as much as I can, head out into the woods, assess the situation, decide what I want, what I don't want, and leave the rest behind. There's also a possibility there could be other people with you. So if there's one or two people with you, you can have them carry stuff too. So if you're carrying it in your car, there's no reason not to keep extra gear with you. There's no reason to only carry a get home bag when you could carry all this extra gear and just leave what you don't need. If you only have to get home, fine, leave the rest of it in the car. But if things get bad and all you have with you is a simple get home bag or a bushcraft haversack, that's all that you brought with you, where are you going to get the extra gear? If you get home and find that somebody has invaded your house and you can't do anything about it, what are you going to do at that point? You can't collect more gear along the way. It's not a video game. If you don't have it, you're not going to have it. So that's my thought. Keep more gear with you than you're actually going to need and leave what you don't need. Again, if you live in one of those areas that you know that your house is safe and you only have uh, 10 miles to travel, uh, don't worry about it. All you need is a get home bag. Just a few items to get you from point A to point B. You're fine. Most people don't live in that area. So like I said, judge for yourself, figure out your own situation, and see what bag is going to work best for you. But I hope this helps, and I hope to see you on the next video. Always hope for the best and prepare for the worst. Y'all have a good day.